Good evening, everyone. Um, I wasn't planning on making this video. I was hoping to be editing my part two of my adventures in Ohio uh, installment, but um, I just I talking to my therapist, and um, apparently talking out your feelings and emotions can maybe help you work through them. And so, um, while it may seem weird to put all of your emotions out there on cyberspace, but a lot of people do, and I follow other YouTubers who've certainly gone through things in their life, and they've shared their reflections and how they feel, and um, it certainly helped me. So um, maybe this video somewhere somehow will um, help somebody out there. But this has been a very difficult year, to say the least. Um, I've had many personal struggles. I had to watch my grandfather slip away with dementia, and then ultimately lost him last month. And there's been so much going on that I honestly have barely been able to process the fact that he's gone. Like I went to the funeral and I saw him, but it was very hard to accept that he was gone. He had always been there for me from the very beginning. And I didn't have my father growing up. My parents divorced when I was quite young. And so he kind of filled the role of both grandfather and father. And he always tried to instill in me to do the right thing. And he would always tell me these lessons and be like, you know, one of these days when I'm gone, you're going to look back and realize I was right. And he was. He was right. There are so many things that I've thought about recently that he taught me life lessons, right and wrong, that I didn't always pay attention to because I wanted to do my own thing, wanted to go spend time with friends or whatever and be a kid. But, I struggled from the very beginning of my life. My mother had, I think, 2 miscarriages before I was born. And I didn't know this until very recently, but then when I was born, I turned purple and wasn't breathing, and they had to defibrillate me. Uh, there was a flurry of doctors they didn't even know if I was going to make it. I spent the first couple of months of my life hooked up to a heart monitor in an incubator. And then I spent the first year of my life being monitored, had my heart monitored. And ultimately, the issues kind of slowly resolved themselves, although, I've had some recurrence with my heart issues, and it's something that I have to be mindful of. But, all these health issues as a kid, like my grandmother was too scared that she would break me. And my mother was kind of the same way. So my grandfather was the one that kind of stood up and took care of things for me. He took my mom and me back and forth to University Hospital, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week when I was a kid. And I came from a very loving family. I was the only child, only grandchild. And they really doted on me and made me feel like I was the center of the universe. And you don't realize how precious that is until that's gone. And one thing I've learned in life is that there's nothing more important than family. Nothing. But family isn't always the family you're born into. You have friends, you have lovers that are your family, that would do anything for you. And, you know, I've always been someone that tries to look back on what I've done in the past, whether it be a year ago or 5 years ago, and look at the mistakes that I've made and try to grow from them. And my grandfather taught me family will always be there for you, that they love you unconditionally. And I counted on that support system my whole life. I didn't have friends growing up because I was too socially awkward, I was too scared, or my mother was too scared to let me go out on the weekends and do things that normal kids do. So I didn't really start to truly make deep, close friendships until college. And I look back and I think of all these experiences that so many people take for granted that I never got to have until my 20s. And, you know, I didn't believe that I could ever love someone as much as I love my family. That I could ever count on somebody just as much as I did my grandparents and my mother. But then, quite by accident, you meet people that show you that there's still good in this world. That they look beyond the outer shell and see the struggles you've had in your life. And they see what an amazing person you are. And there's an old line from a movie that I'll never forget. A life without love is no life at all. And I've been very, very blessed to have friends that are closer than family and people that I love in my life. And one thing I've learned is that no matter how hard you try, you're always going to make mistakes in life. I've made many mistakes in my past, and hopefully I've learned from them, and I'm still learning from them. But no matter where you go in life, no matter what you do, there's so many people that spend their whole life looking for fame and wealth and material possessions, and I've certainly been guilty of that. Uh, I always doubt myself as an artist, and my art is always my art, my photography, whatever it may be, has always been a way for me to work through the pain and hurt that I've had in my life, and the good things too, and celebrate the people that I love and the people that have been a huge part of my life. And in this chaotic world of, where things are changing so fast, technology is changing so fast, I wonder, can I keep up? Can I do what I want to do and stay true to myself as an artist? And sometimes the answer is, I don't know. But then I'll be on the road and I'll see something and it'll just be so inspiring and that I just have to capture it. And I want to share that with the world. And that was my intention behind this channel, behind this blog, is to kind of share some of my passions. But it's also kind of become a way for me to work through issues that are going on in my life. And people back home or friends on Facebook, they sometimes make assumptions about what's going on. And, in this world of social media, we think we know what's going on in someone's life, and we don't always really know what's going on in someone's life until we truly sit down with them in person and get to know that person. And, one thing I love about my job is that it allows me to travel the country and meet new people. And, the more people I meet, the more I appreciate the people I have in my life back home. Uh, my family. But, you know, there's so many different people in this world from so many different walks of life. And there's been so much going on in our nation about dividing upon black, white, old, young, Democrat versus Republican. And, we try to break ourselves down into these groups and divide ourselves and not realize that we're all not that different. We're all human. And we all struggle through life trying to find our purpose, trying to make our own way in this world. And, I think sometimes I've been guilty of getting complacent and not staying on the right path. But, I make mistakes, I stumble, but when we fall down, what do? We have to get back up. And I've been very blessed the last 5 or 6 years to have people in my life that have truly supported me and that have taught me to be a better person, taught me to be happy with who I am as an individual, not to try to live up to some artificial standard that society has set for us. I go back home to my hometown and, I really don't feel like I belong anymore because I've grown so much and, I don't feel like I belong there anymore. And, I've spent my life being picked on by other people and judged, and in some places torn apart because of who I am, the way I look physically. You know, I spent much of my childhood and my early teen years worrying about what other people saw of me. I wanted to be quote unquote normal and to blend in and be the same as everybody else. And one thing I've realized these last couple years is that you should never want to be the same as everybody else. You should always want to be you, be who you are, and do what makes you happy. Be true to yourself. You know, you know, I believe that God created us all to be different, to be unique, to have our own abilities. And we spend so much time pointing out our differences and saying that we don't like this person because they're like this or this or this. And when reality, we should be celebrating that we're not the same as everybody. We spend time, get to know other people, appreciate them for who they are. Because until you truly get to know someone, you don't know what you're missing. Like, my best friend in the entire world, like, a lot of people would look at her and judge her in this certain way. And I remember I got to know her, and she's this amazing person. And we have our differences, we fight, but we truly appreciate each other for our differences. We are opposites in almost every single way, but we still are like the two closest friends you could ever possibly find. And, I'm very blessed, and I've said this multiple times throughout this video, I'm very blessed to have people in my life that come from all backgrounds. And they have only enriched my life in countless ways. And, we may not all agree, but we've all kind of been able to come together as friends, as family. And, I challenge you in your own life to get to know someone before you dismiss them. Because you never know what that person is going through, or you never know what you might be missing in a friend. We all have something to offer, whether it be at a job or, to offer other people. Whatever the case may be, I truly believe that, like, if we all just, like, took the opportunity to get to know one another a little better, it would make the world a better place. So, that's my rant for the evening, and hopefully I'll be able to post a video soon that's a little more upbeat. I'm still working on part 2 of my Ohio adventures, which will hopefully be better than the first. I'm still working on getting the handle of video editing. I'm a photographer first and foremost, and video is this whole nother entity that's it takes a while to really grasp. So I wish all my viewers a happy and safe week, and go forth and do something for someone else. Get to know someone, because you never know how that person could enrich your life. All right, guys. Bye.